Okay, I don't want to sound like the boy who cried wolf here, or in this case, the girl who cried space event. But in this case, this is a legit space event that I've seen with my own 2 eyes and binoculars, and you will be able to see it too, as long as you know where to look. So here's the story of my dad and mine's adventure to go see Comet NEOWISE. So Comet NEOWISE, as you may have seen in your news feed or maybe even on the news, is this comet that's coming close to Earth, so that's bright enough for us to see it. So the best view of it is going to be this weekend, especially if it's clear night skies. So tonight is supposed to be clear night skies. Tomorrow might be a little bit more cloudy. So tonight would be a good night to see it. So if you're thinking, oh, I'll catch it the next time it comes around Earth, well, you can't, because its orbital period, meaning the times it takes to go around the sun, is 6,766 years. So the next time it's going to be visible from Earth is in the year 8,786. So go out tonight. If you want to see this comet, go out tonight. So my dad and I decided we wanted to go look for this comet
last night. So where do we go but our backyard, where it's darker than our front yard, still not that dark. We turn off all the lights in the backyard, try to get it as dark as we can. And you're supposed to go out 45 minutes to an hour after sunset so that it's dark enough and you can start seeing stars. So we go out to look for this comet, and you need to look to the northwest underneath the Big Dipper. So remember, the Big Dipper has the handle and the bucket, and it's obviously bigger than the Little Dipper. So you want to look at the Big Dipper and look just under it. So that's where we looked, and we couldn't see a thing, and it was still kind of bright out when we went out at 9:50, and we're like, oh, maybe we should try a little bit later. So we went inside, went back outside, still couldn't see anything. We saw a little extra stars, but we decided those were definitely just stars, not actually the comet. We weren't sure exactly where to look, so we were like, oh, it just needs to be below the Big Dipper. So we were looking to the left, we were looking right below, we were looking to the right. We couldn't figure it out. So we were like, okay, it is still a little way out. So we went back inside. Then we came back outside for a third time, and this time we were like, oh, let's try to bring binoculars and see what we can see. And we look, and still we're seeing the same, like 3 stars that were like, maybe that's it, maybe that's it. And then we had our mobile Skyview app, and we realized that those were just actual stars, not a comet that you can see with the tail and everything. So we were about to give up. We're like, I don't think we can see this. This is another space event, busted, like our lunar eclipse a couple weeks ago. But then my dad was like, let's go for a drive. So we wanted to go somewhere that was darker. We're like, we can still see the street lights, some people's backyard house lights. We're making it still pretty light in our backyard. So we're like, let's go for a drive. So we went to the local soccer center, where there's pretty much only one light in the parking lot, and we can go to a faraway parking lot where it's dark. So we go to the soccer center, and before we went, we made sure to bring our binoculars, but my dad also found that a trick to finding the comet was to put your hand in a fist about where the bucket of the Big Dipper is, and then move it 3 fists down and 1 to the right. And that should be the general area of where the comet should be. So we knew we had to be looking down and to the right for this comet, and
we saw it. We actually saw it. With our unaided eyes, it was just like a fuzzy little star. But then when we looked with the binoculars, you could see the actual like nucleus or the head of the comet, and then the tail coming off of it. And I'm going to put a picture up of what other people have seen and taken a picture of what it looks like. It's not just a star, it's a star with a tail, or, you know, a comet. So we saw it. So I called up my mom and we were like, we found it. Do you want to come see it? So she's like, yeah, come pick me up. So we drove back home, and since we knew where we were supposed to be looking, we were able to, in our front yard where there's street lights and house lights all over the place, we were able to look and see and find it. In our front yard, in our driveway, it was right above our neighbor's house. So then we went back to our backyard and we were like, we should be able to find it. We couldn't, because the trees were blocking the way. The comet is pretty low in the sky, so the trees are blocking the position of it. It is pretty low in the sky. It's about a little bit higher than a 2-story house. So if you have big trees, those are going to block the way, just like they did in our backyard, where we were going to give up and say we couldn't see it. But then we moved to a place where the horizon was a little bit clearer and we were able to see it. So it was really, really cool to see, and you could see it with just binoculars, which is awesome. It'd be even cooler if we had a telescope to try it out. So if you have a telescope, totally use it, but we don't. But it's really rare to be able to see a comet with just your eyes or just binoculars. So this one was super cool, and I'm going to give you some tips on where to look for it, when to look for it, and how to know you have seen it. It's super, super cool, and I'm so glad we didn't give up in looking for this, and we finally saw something in the night sky this summer. So, coming up, I'll give you some tips on how to see it. So, you want to go out about 45 minutes to an hour after sunset, so at dusk, when the first stars start to appear in the night sky. You want to make sure that it's dark, you don't have too many lights, but from my story before, the lights, you don't have to be as picky as you would think. But it's good to go somewhere where it's dark. So city, not good. You want to go somewhere where it's dark for the best viewing. You also want to be somewhere where the horizon isn't blocked by big buildings or trees. So even if you're like, yeah, I can see a lot, your trees need to be smaller. Our trees were too tall in our backyard. So make sure your horizon is not blocked by trees or buildings. Go somewhere where you can, it's a field. A field is a great place to go. And then make sure you have binoculars if you have them, because otherwise it's going to look like a fuzzy star. Maybe you can see a little bit of the tail, but it's so much better of a view with binoculars because you'll be able to see the nucleus and then the whole tail as well. It's going to get gradually higher in the night sky. So yesterday I was able to see it by going 3 fists down and 1 to the right in order to see it. It's going to be moving a little bit higher in the night sky. I'll show a chart of where it could be tonight, or where it will be tonight, and you'll see that it's moving a little bit more underneath the Big Dipper than it was yesterday. So, northwest under the Big Dipper, 45 minutes to an hour after sunset. Make sure you're in a dark place where there's not trees or buildings blocking the horizon, and you will be able to see this comet. It is so cool, and it's a literally once in a lifetime chance in order to see it. So go out, get your binoculars. If you have a telescope, even better. I don't, so use it if you do. And go see this comet. Tell me if you saw it, tell me how you saw it, how cool it was, whatever. Just let me know what you think and how cool it was. Okay, happy comet viewing. Remember your binoculars. Have fun.